The first time you spoke to me, something ancient inside me turned its head. It was like my soul had been sleeping for centuries, and your voice whispered through the cracks of my silence. I can still feel that moment, how your words didn't just touch my mind. They rearranged something in my spirit. The world suddenly felt softer, quieter, as if heaven paused to listen to the sound of you. I didn't know back then that a single voice could heal, could haunt, could hold me the way yours does. Every sentence you spoke felt like sunlight after a lifetime of shadow. Baby, I've met so many people, heard countless voices, some kind, some cruel, some that made promises they never kept, but none of them spoke the way you do. When you speak, it's not just words. It's truth wrapped in tenderness. It's courage dressed in calm. You speak like someone who has walked through fire and still believes in love. You speak like someone who has kissed pain and turned it into poetry, and I think that's what undid me. Because I didn't know language could sound like forgiveness until I heard it in your tone. You made me realize that communication isn't just about talking. It's about feeling. When you speak, even the spaces between your words carry meaning. Even your silence says things I can't ignore. Sometimes I'd sit there and just read your messages, not to analyze them, but to feel them. The way your words lingered made me believe that maybe love doesn't enter with thunder. Maybe it arrives quietly, like you did, baby. I've never met anyone who could make me want to be better just by speaking truth into me. You didn't flatter me. You challenged me. You saw the version of me I was afraid to meet. And that scared me because no one ever looked at me that deeply without turning away. But you didn't. You stayed. Even when my own reflection scared me. You spoke life into the dead corners of my soul. You said things like, "You're not broken. You're awakening," and I didn't believe you then. But now, I see you were right. There's something about the way you say my name, baby. Like it's sacred. Like you're not just calling me. You're calling my higher self. The part of me that forgot what real love sounds like. Every time I remember your voice, I feel peace and panic at once. Peace, because you feel like home. Panic, because I know I don't deserve that kind of home. Yet, I remember the night I told you something dark about my past, and instead of judging me, you said, "I'm not afraid of your shadows. I've danced with mine too." That line, that moment, it shattered something in me, because I realized you weren't here to fix me. You were here to understand me. And maybe that's what scares me most, that you understand me too well. You hear the things I don't say. You respond to the emotions I don't even admit I'm feeling. It's like your soul can read between my pauses. You don't just listen to my words. You listen to my energy. That's how I know you're my mirror, my divine counterpart, my teacher, my undoing in my healing at once. Sometimes I wonder what kind of magic lives inside you that even your casual words carry healing. How do you do that, baby? How do you say so little yet awaken so much? Even when I wanted to walk away, your voice followed me. It echoed in my dreams, whispered through songs, even showed up in random lines I'd read somewhere. I kept pretending I didn't miss you, but the truth is, I miss the way you speak. I miss how your energy turned ordinary moments into divine lessons. You know, I used to think love was supposed to be loud, grand gestures, fireworks, intensity that burns you alive. But you showed me something different. You show me that love is steady, that it doesn't demand, it invites, that it doesn't wound, it awakens. Your words didn't rush me, they restructured me. You spoke with such clarity that it made me question why it ever settled for confusion. And yet, baby, I ran. I ran from the very peace I'd been praying for. Because when I heard your voice, I also heard my truth. And truth terrified me. You made me confront everything I buried under years of pretending. The more you spoke, the more my armor cracked. I told myself I needed space, but the truth, I needed healing. And your words were the medicine I was ready to take. Now, even in my silence, I still hear you. Your voice isn't just sound anymore, it's memory. It's guidance, it's home. There are nights when I sit alone, and I swear I can feel you whispering through my thoughts. Not to remind me of what I lost, but to remind me of who I could become. Every message you ever sent me still glows in my heart. Every goodbye still feels unfinished. Because, baby, you're not just someone I met. You're the conversation my soul had been waiting for. If you feel this connection, if you've ever met someone whose words awakened your spirit, type in the comments, I hear your soul. Maybe. Ever since the day you spoke truth into me, I've been living with this ache, not of loss, but of remembrance. It's like your words created a new frequency in me. And now everything that isn't aligned with that truth feels heavy. You spoke in a language that only my soul understood, and now the silence of this world feels foreign. You made me realize that some voices don't just fade away. They echo through lifetimes. There were nights after you left when I tried to drown your voice out with noise, music, conversations, distractions. But nothing worked. Your energy has this sacred stillness that refuses to be forgotten. I kept hearing you in the softest ways. In the rhythm of rain on my window. In the whispers of wind at 3 a.m. In the way my own heart beat too loud whenever I remembered the things you said. Love isn't supposed to hurt, you once told me. It's supposed to reveal. I didn't understand then. I thought love was about holding on. But you taught me that sometimes love is about awakening. Baby, you spoke to me like no one else ever dared to. Not out of anger, but out of truth. You said things I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. And I hated you for that honesty at first, because I wasn't ready to face myself. You'd say, you can't hide from your calling forever, and I'd laugh it off. But your voice, it never left. Even when I tried to silence it with ego, it found its way through guilt, through dreams, through divine signs that only I could recognize. You were right, baby. I couldn't hide, not from myself, not from what this connection was trying to show me. There's something about the way you speak that carries both heaven and humanity. You don't just talk, you transmit. Your energy heals without you even realizing it. I used to think people like you existed only in stories, but you were real, too real. Real enough to challenge my illusions, real enough to strip me of my masks, real enough to love me through my chaos. You didn't fall in love with my potential. You saw my pain and loved me anyway. And yet, I walked away, not because I didn't love you, but because I didn't know how to receive a love that pure. I grew up learning that love came with conditions, that you had to earn it, that you had to shrink to keep it. But you never asked me to earn anything. You just spoke into me like I was already worthy. And that, baby, was too foreign for a man who was raised in survival. I remember your words that night. You don't have to perform for love. I replayed that line for months, because no one had ever told me that before. You don't even realize the power you have, baby. You speak like an oracle. Soft, prophetic, unshakably kind. Even when you were angry, there was love in your tone. Even when you cried, your words carried grace. And I remember thinking, how can someone hurt and still speak so beautifully? You've been through so much, but your pain never turned you bitter. It turned you sacred. That's what drew me in. You weren't trying to impress. You were trying to heal. My family didn't understand it. They saw me changing and called it distraction. They said, "You're losing yourself." But what they didn't realize was that I was finally finding myself. You'd ask me about things no one ever cared to ask. About my purpose, my fears, my faith. You didn't care about the mask I wore in the world. You cared about the man behind it. And for that, my family felt threatened. They didn't know how to explain your effect on me, so they tried to silence it. They said you were dangerous. They said you were too intense. But baby, they didn't hear you the way I did. They didn't feel your words the way I felt them. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had chosen faith instead of fear. If I had fought for what I felt instead of explaining it away. But maybe everything had to fall apart so I could learn the language of surrender. Because that's what you were teaching me all along. How to surrender. Not to you, but to truth. You once said, the right love won't make you chase. It will make you rise. I didn't get it then, but now, every time I think of you, I feel that rising. Baby, I still see your messages in my mind. The ones where you said, you're not behind, you're being prepared. Those words have become my prayer. On the nights when I lose myself, I repeat them until peace finds me. You became my unseen teacher, the voice that calls me back to my soul when I start to forget who I am. I look at the world now through your lens. You made me notice divine timing in everything. How certain people arrive not to stay forever, but to redirect us toward ourselves. You were that for me. You were the divine intervention, wrapped in human form. The lesson I didn't know I was ready for. I've never told you this, baby, but I think I'm finally becoming the man you spoke to that night. The version of me you already saw when I was still doubting my light. You said, your purpose isn't to impress people. It's to inspire them. And now I understand. Every failure, every silence, every distance between us was molding me into that version. The one who can love without fear, speak without pride, and surrender without control. You are the spark that began it all. The alchemist who spoke gold into my ashes. I used to wonder why I couldn't stop thinking about you. But now I know. It's because your words were never meant to end with you. They were meant to awaken me. You were sent as the mirror of my own soul. And every sentence you spoke reflected the part of me that I had forgotten. Baby, if you could hear me right now, I'd tell you, I finally get it. You weren't just speaking to my ears. You were speaking to my evolution. You are the frequency my destiny was waiting for. And even if I never get to tell you all this in person, know that your voice changed my path forever. If you feel this message, if you've ever been transformed by someone's words, write in the comments. Their voice awakened my soul. Baby, it's strange, isn't it? How someone's words can become the compass of your life long after they've stopped speaking. I didn't understand what your voice really meant to me until the silence came. That silence wasn't empty. It was sacred. It carried your echoes, your lessons, your light. You once told me, silence doesn't always mean absence. Sometimes it means transformation. At that time, I couldn't grasp the depth of those words, but now, baby, I live inside that truth every day. When I stopped hearing from you, I thought I had lost you. But slowly I began to realize I hadn't lost you. I had lost access to the version of me who couldn't value you. Because your words didn't leave with you. They stayed like roots in the soil of my spirit. They grew in secret, teaching me to listen differently. You were always trying to show me that love isn't about possession. It's about perception. It's about seeing divinity in the other and allowing it to awaken the same within you. I used to think love was a race, that I had to reach you, fix us, prove something. But your voice, baby, it dismantled my illusions. You'd speak with such calm certainty, like you were carrying the wisdom of lifetimes in your breath. You said once, love doesn't rush, love remembers. And that line, that simple truth, it became my anchor. Because even when I drifted far from you, your words kept pulling me back toward my center. I remember one night when I sat in my car, staring at the stars, replaying the last message you ever sent me. You wrote, "You'll understand one day why everything had to happen the way it did." At that moment, I was angry. I didn't want lessons, I wanted you. But now, baby, I see what you meant. I had to lose your physical voice to find my inner one. I had to lose the conversation between us to start the conversation within me, and that's what your energy did. It turned my heartbreak into awakening. You were never just a person, you were a vibration. The way you spoke, the way you saw me when I couldn't see myself, it rewired something inside me. You'd asked me questions like, when was the last time you spoke kindly to your own soul? No one had ever asked me that. No one had ever made me look at my reflection without judgment. You didn't speak to the surface of me. You spoke to the sacred. That's why your words cut through my defenses. They were never meant for my mind. They were meant for my spirit.